Number 73 in the Radiance range is A Quiet Place in the Country, directed by Elio, Petri, the third film from his in the Radiance range after All the Working Class Go to Heaven and We Still Kill the Old Way. Again, we have another very different film here. This one is a kind of psychological thriller that tackles all kinds of really interesting themes as well. It's part ghost story, part meditation on the creative process, which I really kind of like. It starts off in an almost futuristic setting where we have our main character of Leonardo, played by Franco Nero, and his partner, Flavia, played by Vanessa Redgrave. They kind of share a house. You kind of get understanding early on that Leonardo has a block. He's an artist who can't seem to create at the moment, and that's really affecting Flavia as she owns an art house and is looking to sell more of his paintings, but without the materials, she can't make any money.
Leonardo, take my word for it. The Count's villa will be the perfect place for you to work in peace and quiet. I guarantee it.
So they decide to take a break from their current life, go to a place in the country, rent out this kind of mansion, and hopefully spark the creative juices within Leonardo. But as he gets there, he starts to discover more about the history of this town, of the building, of the people that stayed there, of a young woman. And it kind of focuses on this mystery at the heart of it as he tries to almost do anything other than create.
Don't listen to that rubbish. They don't know the truth about her. You busy?
No, I was looking for you.
Every man here who's now over 40 had Wanda. Wanda took every man she could get.
And it has this backdrop of the post-war Italy as well, and how that has affected the characters that he's investigating into. And it's one of those movies that is psychologically terrifying as you see the breakdown of Leonardo as he starts to see things that may not be there, as he starts to wonder if there is some sort of conspiracy in the girl that he's investigating, her death, what happened to this person that died a number of years ago, how does she live her life? Flavia's constant pressure of trying to get him to create, to do something, to get that spark back, and the pressure that's putting upon him. And I feel like you have this wonderfully expansive space that they're in, this large building that feels a little bit dilapidated and needs a little bit touched up, the kind of weird noises that go with it, the history that's just built into the brickwork within this building that just seems to haunt everything.
Come on with me.
And it's all tied together with an absolutely phenomenal performance by Franco Nero, who really gets across this fractured man, this man who is on the edge, who is losing himself and is struggling to find any resemblance of what he used to be. The pressures put onto him from Flavia is constantly just weighing him down. The expectations are something that he's actively trying to avoid, but every moment seems to be put upon him. He is such a phenomenal actor, and there is such intensity within his eyes, I find, with Nero, particularly in the sequences here where you can see him struggling to comprehend what's going on, and the panic descends on him. It's just wonderful. And the other actors in this are great, but I was just fascinated by Franco Nero in this because it was a performance and a role that I hadn't seen him tackle before, and it feels very different.
Why do these things keep happening? It's as though someone in the house doesn't want me here.
It's your imagination, Flavia.
There is this atmospheric horror that builds up throughout the film. You can see the tension coming. It just, you're waiting for it to get to that point where you know it's going to break, where things are going to go too far. And when it gets to those kind of sequences, they are horrific, and it ends on one of those fitting finales that it doesn't sit quite right with me. It feels right within the context of the story, but it's not right at the same time, and I don't want to explain more because I don't want to spoil the ending of this one. But this is another Elio Petri film where he tackles something very different again. It is a thriller, it is a horror, very different from his other two movies in the series, and something that's equally great. There is always a strong sense of theme through this one, whether it be art, sex, madness. His films always have something to say, which is great as well. Wonderful performances, great location, wonderfully shot. It builds the tension expertly well and delivered on that in a terrific finale. Yeah. Let's dive into the extras of A Quiet Place in the Country and see what there are. Here we are in the disc for A Quiet Place in the Country. Let's go to the special features. First up, we have scene-specific commentary by Kat Ellinger, which totals 39 minutes, 42 seconds. Next up, we have Stephen Thrower. It's a newly filmed interview where the author, Stephen Thrower, talks about A Quiet Place in the Country, looking in depth at the production, history, Petri, its cast, its aspects as a ghost story, and more. This is a really in-depth talking head. It is 49 minutes, 24 seconds. He talks about influences on the film, what brought Petri to make this film, and how it was a long-standing film that he'd always wanted to make. Next up, we have Franco Nero himself. This is an archival interview where he discusses his role in this film, which was filmed in 2017, and this runs at 32 minutes, 6 seconds. He talks about how it was so great to work with Petri, how he is kind of like the Italian Stanley Kubrick, and to be honest, I'm just glad to see another interview with Franco Nero. Next up, we have Pier Antonio Macacci. In this interview, makeup artist Pier Antonio Macacci discusses his work on the film, and this was made in 2021, and it's 13 minutes 59 seconds, and it's quite interesting to get his take on it as someone who was part of the production team at the time and his memory of that. There is a trailer as well. Also in this disc is a 20-page booklet which has one essay in it, which is really interesting. It's the useful work, pop art, ghosts and modern schizophrenia in Elio Petri's A Quiet Place in the Country by Simon Abrams. And that's the extras for A Quiet Place in the Country. There we have it. Quiet Place in the Country, out now. Again, if you enjoyed the previous Petri films, I think you're going to like this one. It is a little bit different, a little bit colder at the start and a little bit tougher to get into, but once you're into it, highly enjoyable. I'd love to know your thoughts on this film, so let me know in the comment box below whether you love it, hate it, fall somewhere in the middle. If you're planning on picking up, let me know as well. As always, there is more content up here where you can see more of my stuff. In the description box below are links to Patreon, membership program, and manvfilm.com, always in which you can support me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.